So anyway, here we are filming. I'm discussing. Hello, John.
Great, fine, thank you.
I'm discussing what it used to be like to be on the ferry, going to from Ireland to England, and there used to be so many people travelling on the ferry, and now like the only people left are the crew. There's hardly any. Isn't that right? Where's all the people gone on the ferry? And we remember the days when it was the main form of transport between England and Ireland for all the immigrants. And there used to be a live band downstairs, and there used to be performers. They used to have like booked cinema. Then the cinema's just gone recently, hasn't it? And there used to be children's entertainment as well. Do you remember the children's? Yeah.
That's right.
And you couldn't get a ticket on the boat. You had to always book in advance. It would be booked for weeks, wouldn't it? And now, how many people are here tonight, John? Six or seven?
There's hardly 20 foot passengers.
Well, there isn't 20 foot passengers.
About 10 maybe.
10 maybe, yeah. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. And what else was? And then you were talking about the restaurant in Rosslare Harbour.
The beautiful bar and restaurant, all closed down.
Closed down.
The souvenir shop there as well.
Oh, there used to be a souvenir. God, you've got a great memory, yeah.
Yeah, I used to get beautiful tapes there. Videotapes.
Of Ireland, yeah, there was to be, yeah.
All souvenirs.
And even the coffee shop is struggling now, isn't it?
Well, you just get a cup of tea and coffee. That's
I mean, she looks very depressed. She looked very depressed today.
That would go as well.
She'd be waiting to see if anybody arrives. And you used to have to actually queue to get on. And when you got off, there were so many people at the exit that you couldn't get out. Do you remember?
That's right, I remember that.
If it wasn't for the fact that it was a Swedish, well, is it still a Swedish company? I don't know, but
I didn't know that though.
I think there was some story about it was some ferry crew line was bought by somebody else, and then they got rid of all the staff. But the staff seems to be quite the same as it was like 10 or 20 years ago. But I remember travelling on this ferry 20 years ago, especially at Christmas or even before that, where the whole restaurant, which is now closed, was packed. You couldn't get a seat at the restaurant.
Big queue at the bar.
Big queue at the bar. I mean, what's happened to the queue at the bar? Where's all the people gone? We're just discussing this, you know. There used to be so. Is it to do with the airlines?
Do with the bonds and everything else.
What did he say?
Do with the pounds, maybe, the money.
The power of the recession, yeah. But I mean, there still would be a lot of people who would be travelling to Ireland either for holidays or, I mean, Ryanair can't be that cheap, or to visit their family in Ireland, and they still. You and I agree, it's still an easier form of travel because we just have to hop on, don't have to wait for hours to check in, go straight to the station, get on the train, get on the ferry and get off. Whilst if you go to an airport you have to queue for hours, and it's all, you know, get a bus, then queue for hours to check in, go through the detector. You can't bring a lot of stuff with you.
So many pounds weight.
And then when you get off you have the same and obviously there's only a few airports in Ireland. It's like if you were going to you're in where did you say you were in?
There's one.
Sorry, I'm a bit drunk.
You're right. There's an airport in Kerry near me.
Oh, it's near you, is it?
Fairn Four. Ryanair comes flies in there.
And what do you think of the shortage of travellers on the ferry?
It's always like this.
No, it used to be like this.
This place used to be packed with foot passengers.
But I've never seen it packed for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about. Do you mind if I put you on my video?
Before that, there'd be a queue up at the bar downstairs.
There'd be a big queue. You couldn't get a seat in the restaurant.
And big sing song and everything.
But it's not. I think it's not so much. I remember when the car decks were full.
Yeah, the car decks as well. Yeah.
But you look at the price they're charging for the cars.
Has it gone up a lot then? But it used to be 150 anyway. So why is everyone gone?
Don't know.
It's really strange, isn't it? It's like a ghost ship.
But remember, there's cheap flights now.
Yeah, but this is what I was discussing with John here. Let's just say you live in you were going to, I mean, let's just say you're travelling to Kilkenny, right?
Yeah.
By the time you board the flight and check in, get the train or bus or whatever to the airport, board the flight, check in with the hundreds of customers, whatever, and you can't bring a lot of luggage, get off the airport, go to the nearest airport in Ireland, and then travel all the way.
Got there a couple of hours before.
It takes longer.
Yes.
So why are people choosing
And
to?
you've got to charge for the car parking while you're there, where you go.
Yeah. And on top of that, you're paying the tax. You're paying extra for tax, so you're probably paying the same, unless you're going to somewhere that's near an airport.
The only thing I can say, there's not so many visitors to Ireland or to England.
Maybe that's it.
The actual
There's
visitors
one
are dropping.
airport near me, alright.
The actual footfall is dropping.
There's an airport in Kerry near me. About half an hour's drive on in the car.
Right, that's not too bad.
Farm Ford, I call it. Ryanair do come in
So how
there.
much would it cost for you to go with Ryanair? Like £20 plus tax? Or if you book in advance? I mean, Waterford is really expensive.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
do
that
know.
easy, because if you're on a foot passenger on this, it's like, it's for nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
60, you know, even with the train, it's like, well, I paid €90 to London, it's about 64 to Bristol, it's nothing.
It's nothing. I don't understand why people, there's not more people on
You pay 30 euros at an airport car park.
Yeah.
So,
So why aren't people travelling? It's just strange, isn't it? I mean, I was just telling to John, because we're both immigrants, so many people that live in England who go back to visit their families, they must be choosing to go through all the hassle of the airport.
but remember, times are hard.
Maybe they're just not visiting as much.
Well, you look at all the pubs, Ireland and England, both sides, both all closing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Places closing. I don't
think there's the money around that it used to be.
Yeah.
I do reading the paper over in England, but every week or every month, at least 100 pubs closing down. That's supposed to be every month in England.
Really? 100 every month?
There's 3 a week closing down in England, I think. 3 a week.
Is it 3 weeks? Nearly 100 a month.
Are you an immigrant?
Sorry?
Are you an immigrant from Ireland to England?
No, I'm an immigrant from England to Ireland.
All right, and you're happy.
Dungarvan.
Oh, one. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, it's lovely.
And you're happy you made that
I love
decision.
it, yeah. And you?
Well, I'm thinking of moving back to Ireland.
I live southern Ireland, West Limerick.
Oh, lovely.
But do you have any Irish family, or did you just
Sorry?
have you got Irish family, or did you just decide Ireland just out of the blue?
No, my brother married an Irish girl.
Ah, right. So you came over and you liked it.
He's been here about 25 years.
It's a scary jump, you know. I might put this on my YouTube now, but it's very interesting, and I'm sorry I didn't do more films of things that have been happening in the past, like 20 years ago, which is now you realise time goes so quickly and things change. Like, for example, in London there used to be a large Irish community, and now it's mostly Indians in the same places, for example.
Kilburn Irish College.
And nobody
Little
keeps a
Ireland.
record. I was just thinking a few days ago, all those Irish shops that used to sell the Irish papers, they've all
They're all
closed down.
gone.
There's no record of them. There's no like film about it, or you could go there and you could buy the Wexford what's it called, the Wexford Echo or whatever it's called, and now they're all closed down, and there's no record of all these things. I remember being on this ship on the 31st of December, was it 99 or whatever, the year that they banned smoking, the day that they banned smoking, and the night before, and there was about 30 of us standing at the exit to the deck under the no smoking sign that had just been erected, having a cigarette outside the door. And that was like nothing, because you should have seen the amount of people downstairs. I remember one of my first journeys when I was about 22 on this boat, and it was totally packed. It used to have a really big restaurant with all these tables full of people, and this woman, who would have been around my age to me at the time, she seemed really old, going around to people saying, I'm going to throw myself off the ship, and nobody noticed her. And I looked at her because I felt sorry for her, and I didn't do anything because I was young and naive. And then they stopped the ship because she had thrown herself overboard.
But you're right. Every trip I've made, and I make a few quite regularly, and I've never seen it. You can always get seats so easily.
Yeah. But you probably didn't travel 20 years ago.
No, and I did actually, but only occasionally then. But they closed both Irish and Muslim. They closed one of the bars there.
There used to be this big restaurant. He probably doesn't remember. He's too young. Just saying, there used to be. We're just doing a documentary about how Irish Stenaline. There used to be this big floor with all these tables for food, and I don't know what's happened. Yeah, 20 years ago, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's still there.
But I don't know if it's
not open tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if it's no. There was a bigger one. I remember, like, you used to walk down this aisle, and there was loads of these tables with all these.
20 years ago.
Is that the one with the TV screen in?
That would have been KB.
It might have been a different ship. Yeah.
This is a newer ship.
But what we're actually discussing is the loss of passengers. It's like a ghost ship now, compared to.
I would say yes, you're right.
It's really weird.
But on this sailing, it's different.
The night one.
This is a quieter sailing. In the afternoon on the 0900 and the 1430, it's really busy.
Really? How many people do you get? But I'm talking about nighttime sailings. I on that particular journey, it was a night sailing.
Sorry?
Oh, it was night sailing.
Yeah.
There's a friend of mine working in this. I was in with 6 months. He works in the bar down Declan.
Yeah, Declan Roach, yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Declan.
He's a personal friend of mine.
How old are you? How old are you?
He's on now. He's on the boat now.
Yeah, he wouldn't get. I was in the bar Friday boy. He wouldn't have it out.
Oh no, he's not working now. He's on days.
Oh, is it days?
He's on days, yeah.
Well, how old are you then? 20.
22.
So you wouldn't remember the times that we're talking about, yeah?
No, goodness, no. I know there was a KB before, and then there was a Felicity before that. So
I was just telling John here that I remember about around the time that you would have been born. I was on this boat. It was really funny because I was chatting with this girl who was doing a degree in England, and she had a grant from Ireland. Those days you had grants from everywhere. She had a grant from Ireland, a grant from England, employment, benefits from England. She was making a fortune and having a great time. And we were chatting away, and this woman started coming around saying she was going to throw herself overboard, and we were young and we didn't take much notice. And the next thing, they stopped the ship because she'd thrown herself, and we were circling for 7 hours, and all we were thinking about was we got a free meal, because they gave everybody that on the boat a free meal. But now I think, my God, it's like so. But the thing is, there was hundreds of people. The boat was so full. It was like the film of the Titanic, and now, like, there's only 8 passengers, foot passengers, and it was a night sailing.
In Rosslare, there's hardly 10 foot passengers. How about that, man? There's hardly 10 foot passengers walk off or walk on in Rosslare. Sure, the 1st of July, I was on this. I didn't hardly 20 walk off either. We got the bus, like. Bus, because the gantry in Rosslare, there's something wrong with the walkway. We got the bus.
Sorry, I shouldn't really film you unless you want me to put you on my YouTube.
You're on YouTube, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of putting it there, maybe. No, it's interesting because we were just talking about all the things that have changed, because we're immigrants, and I remember London, where it was full of Irish people. You go to Camden, and there was all these people. They were all like dressed in that kind of 80s kind of, the kind of hippie type of look. Going to the pubs, drinking was all fashionable. Now you go to Camden, you go to the places where the Irish people live, and it's either Indians or Polish or whatever.
I lived in Camden.
There's hardly any Irish people left.
No, in Camden. I get 12 years living in Camden Town.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice there. Okay, see you then. See you. But it's really strange, like the way things, and nobody documents it.
Camden is a yuppie place now.
It's a yuppie place, yeah. But
my father was Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill Gate.
They've become really. And this is the funny thing is about in London. all these places, all you see is young people, and they're all really dressed really fashionable. You don't see older people.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see older people on the tube. You don't see people relaxing and
8 years I gave in Ladbroke Grove, that's alongside Notting Hill Gate.
it's nice there.
Oh, yeah.
Quite nice.
That's a very posh area.
Posh
too.
area, yeah.
It was there that you hold the big carnival, Notting Hill Carnival.
You used to go to it?
When they lived right in the centre of it, Ladbroke Grove.
Oh right, oh of course, yeah. I went there last year, yeah.
Oh.
But
All the blacks at that carnival.
yeah,
Blacks, Indians and everything.
it's become very very popular. And this is the other thing, is it's amazing how many foreigners, tourists,
Oh, it's all fun.
come to London just for things like the carnival
that's it,
and
yeah.
Glastonbury,
We do.
because they hear about the reputation.
We do have a great parade, St. Patrick's Day over in London as well. I've been it every year. Every county, most of the counties, they have their own parade.
Yeah.
Paddy's Day parade.
Yeah.
All dressed up and everything.
Anyway, I suppose we'll switch this off, but just for the record, we are in a ghost ship. Yes, there's hardly anyone here. But for us, it's a good thing, isn't it? Because we don't have to queue, and we get better service at the bar.
It's fine and quiet. We're fine and relaxed.
Get better service. We got our own seats. We got our own little private bar here, and basically they're going to be nicer to the customers because there's less customers. So I'll switch that off now.